Cool, man. Can we get started?
Let's get started.
Okay. Very smooth intro. Um, well, cool. Like, obviously, I don't know what will come of this. I'd like to do more of these if people are interested. But yeah, thanks for sitting down with me. Thanks for agreeing to do this. I'm just going to ask you a couple questions and we'll see where this goes. Cool.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So, Mr. Michael Boyland, what is a strength that you have that like now's your time to brag? Like what's a strength that you have that you're super grateful that you possess?
Yeah, this is probably the easiest
Okay, yeah.
question. It says that's
So we're
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's like so many to pick from, but
Way the worst.
no. I think the biggest thing is I am so competitive in every aspect of my life, which it just creates other strengths. Like if I want to be the best lacrosse player, that's relevant to my life, I'd have to work out more than everyone else, or I'd have to play more wall ball or do more reps and competition with the grades, more studying. It's just like different things like that. And I think it's allowed me to excel in a lot of things and push past comfort and just be like, I don't know, almost really critical of myself. And I do like a lot of self reflection because of it. Because if I'm not at the top or I'm not excelling, I'm like, well, what is it other people are doing? How can I mimic them? How can I change my habits? And I think that just stems from the hyper competitiveness. And I mean, I can't even play board games with people without like screaming and getting mad. Like it's bad. Like kind of won't my girlfriend won't even play games with me most times unless there's other people because then she thinks it'll tone me down. So I don't know. I guess that'd be like my strength that I'm most grateful for because I think it pushes me past a lot of discomfort.
It's probably led to the vast majority of your success, like whether it be personal or professional. Um, it's really cool because a lot of people I know are like being competitive is a pretty common trait, especially I think
Mm-hmm.
for dudes, and it usually leads to not phenomenal results or less than desirable, I don't know, attributes. It usually leads people towards like down a path that they probably wouldn't want to be on. So it's really cool that you allow it to, or at least you try to let it like dictate the positive qualities of your life. Like I think you said
And,
it earlier, it's a really phenomenal habit to just be like, okay, how can I make this happen? Okay, what do I need to do to make this happen? And you do it. Good.
I think, and kind of just even one thing is like, you can't mistake it with like arrogance or cockiness, but I think it's allowed me to not be the best at some things too. Like there's points where I'm so competitive and I just continuously suck or I can't do whatever it is that I'm trying to set my mind to. I'm just not better than other people. And it's okay sometimes to look at yourself and be like, that's just not for me. And not to say you have to be the best at something to ever participate or like it or enjoy it, but I think it's allowed me to like be very honest with myself at the same time. So
Yeah, and it's like it's great that you try certain things, but you also want to be aware of um, what's it called? Opportunity costs. So it's like, okay, this is cool. I'm glad I tried it, and I'm okay with not being great at this. Maybe it makes sense to not go all in with this thing and spend, a certain amount of time trying to get good at it. Maybe I can just like leave that aside and let other people do that. That's how I felt when I did stand up comedy. It was years ago, but I got up on stage, I came up with some material and I got off and it was really, really difficult. Uh, it's like public speaking times 50 because
yeah,
you know how you're doing right away. Like
right.
you're getting feedback immediately. And if it's a quiet room, you're like, okay, this is not going well. And like
Can't
most people
imagine.
like most people who start out, like you don't do great. It's not good starting out. And it's pretty visceral. And I would get off stage and be like, okay, I wasn't that good at that. I'm okay. That's okay with me. Like, I'm good. I wasn't like, wow, okay, I want to get really good at that. I was just like, yeah, wasn't that good. Glad I tried it.
Mhm.
maybe I'll do it again. Who knows? Then in college, I did acting. I was in plays, and the exact opposite happened. I got off stage my first play, and I was like, that wasn't that good. Not a great actor. I was like, but I really want to become a good actor. I'm gonna. What can I do? Like you were saying, what can I do to make sure that I can get really good at this, and then I'll just do that. So, yeah, picking and choosing, I think, is very
That's
important.
that's kind of like the beautiful thing of life, though, is like you can do something, suck at it, and then you can just and once you've experienced that a couple times and you've actually, worked on your habits and I guess got to the top or seen success for whatever definition that is to you, then the next time you run into that, you're not like freaking out about it. You're not like, oh my God, I just did this for the first time and I suck. It's the end of the world. I can't do it. You know how to go back to the drawing board and reevaluate and attack it again. So yeah.
Yeah, man, I love it. So, 10 years from now, what will you look back on to you right now and think you did too much of or too little of?
Um, too much over too little. I guess I'll go with too little first, and this is going to be the most boring answer. And I'm sorry, but it's just reading.
Yeah.
I do not read enough books. I read articles almost daily. I stay on top of the news and things like that,
So
and I
you
listen
can
to
read.
podcasts. I can read
Okay.
words sometimes,
Good.
but me no like read too much. So yeah.
Me understand.
No, at the end of the day, I think that I'm gonna look back and go, man, I probably could have fit a couple more books in. And it's funny when you read something, you're like, wow, that really applies to my life either right now or it did 5 years ago. It's kind of crazy to think like how many books you could have read that would have impacted your life in the moments that you experienced, better or worse, I guess. But I don't know. I think I could probably read more. But yeah.
Do you listen to audiobooks?
No, I hate
Mm.
audiobooks. I can't.
Yeah.
I think part of the visualization process for me is actually like seeing the words.
Mhm.
Um, and I also really like paperback too. I can't read off of a screen in terms of like a long book. I would hate like any kind of like assignment or long reading over the internet. If it's anything over 10 pages, it's not happening. I just can't. I can't lock into that. Um, yeah, I would say
Yeah.
that's too little, too much. Um, I'm very critical of myself, which I don't think is a bad thing, but I also allow that to I worry about what other people think a little far too often in terms of like what they think about me or the work I'm doing. And so I'll often, get back after a days of work or anything and I overthink every interaction. So like, what if I would have said this instead? Like, how do they perceive this? And at the end of the day, I think I need to be. I'm very comfortable with myself and true, like and honest, and so I feel like being so critical in that way is just a waste of time, if you will. I can't. You can't change the past. Hindsight's always going to be 2020. So I think that's something I haven't gotten to grips with yet. And so I think as I mature and get older and learn, I'll kind of not to say not care what people think is bad, but to not let that beat me up, I think is the lesson I need to learn.
Yeah, it's crazy finding the balance because someone who says, "Yeah, I don't care what anybody thinks about me."
Yeah,
It's like you're probably lying and that's probably
I
not
really
good.
care.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well in gen it's too like you have to. Like you got to have some social awareness and just self-awareness in general like how how is what I'm saying affecting other people? How is what I'm doing affecting other people? Um it's tough. Yeah, like thinking about being cognizant of those things without letting it get the better of you and
Hmm.
you can definitely overthink it. Yeah, finding that balance is difficult. There's a quote I really like and I don't know where it comes from, but it's uh, I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. And
Yes.
that it just portrays basically how all of us live. Like we only, for better or worse, have our own perspective to work with. Like no matter how much you and I know each other, and no matter how well we communicate, I'll never actually experience myself from your eyes. Like I'll never actually
Mm.
understand what you're thinking about me. I mean, it's clear that you're hating every second of this, but I'll never fully understand that pain. And vice versa. Like you'll never actually understand, like no matter how much I tell you, you'll never hit that 100% mark where you
Mhm.
actually see yourself through my eyes. And I think that's just because we weren't meant to. We
And
weren't meant to think about that.
another thing that's crazy is like what lives on from you is not necessarily your accomplishments in life. It's the things people say about you when you're gone. So, when you die, they're not going to be like, "Oh, you achieved this accolade," blah 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 blah. I mean, they might mention it, but the things they're going to mention is your how you treated them, the interactions that you had, and I think that's what I tend to be like overthinking. I literally will be on a phone call and I'll finish and I'll like look at my girlfriend and be like, "Did I sound too much like a dick there?
Hmm.
Did I say this that way?" And she's like, you're fine. Like, and so yeah, I don't know. It's a balance for sure, but working on it.
Yeah, constantly. I was just talking to James Lalone about this. I came to a realization the other day, and it's super simple. It's not anything that nobody doesn't already know, but I was just like, huh, like, who are you? You just said, like, what constitutes a person? And I was like, it has to be like what you do consistently,
Hmm.
like you're not what you do in a day, but if you do that same thing, what you did that day, if you do that same thing for a ton of days afterwards, it's like, yeah, that's probably a characteristic of yourself.
Right.
And, you could have a bad day, you could have a great day. It doesn't mean that you're bad or great. It's like, what are you doing consistently? And you could have a conversation with somebody and you really sound like a dick. You sound like an asshole. But it's like, were the previous 12 conversations you had with that person on the phone you being helpful and supportive
Hmm.
and having a great conversation? It's like, if that's the case, then they probably didn't get off the phone going, God, Mike is such a dick. Mike
Yeah.
is such an asshole. They didn't even think twice about it. I would assume. And as long as you define your values and your principles and what you are hoping to accomplish, people can get on board with that, or they can not, and always take feedback and change course if you have to. But that's all you can really do. And if you're doing that, then I think that makes it easier to not be so self-conscious uh,
Right.
about
You
the
can kind of
mistakes
fall
you make.
back on your principles and figure that if it's ingrained enough, you're going to be trusting in yourself, your kind of process of doing things, and that it'll kind of turn out the right way,
Yeah,
regardless of if. I mean, in my opinion, everything's redeemable, and I almost believe that to a fault, or in terms of like people's actions. And so kind of like what you're saying, one day you can do one thing bad, but if every other day you're a saint, I don't know. It's kind of a weird topic to just dive into, I suppose, too.
no, I know. I was slightly intimidated by you when I first met you. One, because it's kind of the curse of accolades. Like in a training class, you hear a lot about a name, or you're like, oh, you
Hmm.
guys definitely want to get to know this person. They're very good. Um, and so I was just like, okay, I want to.
Very intimidating person, though.
Well, I learned that that was not the case. uh, you could be, but like you're a driver. You are. You're when you want to be. You're very serious, and you're to use, I guess, the same word again. You're very driven. So like when you're doing something, you're very intense. You can be very
Driven
intense.
driver. I like that.
You're like a driven driver, and when you drive, I feel driven to also drive. Um, no, but so getting to know you, I was like, okay, this is just a goofy guy who's really competitive, and that's it. Um, I have no idea why I started that thought or what we were talking about, but yeah,
I liked it. It was good.
cool. I liked it. It was good.
I think where we got where we were going when we were driving. It was good.
You didn't. I see. I'm not a driver. Uh, what's the most overrated thing in the world?
Shake Shack and In and Out. You know, I think Culver's is where it's at. If I'm being honest.
Okay. Do they have
No,
okay, I was about to dive in.
no, we're gonna dive in. Well, you want to dive into that first?
Well, so I've never eaten at Shake Shack. I love In-N-Out Burger. I'm assuming you have
Okay.
both in Wisconsin. You're in Wisconsin right now.
No, no,
Let
no.
that
There's
be
no In
known.
and Out. In and Out
Oh, okay.
is West Coast.
West Coast. Right. Okay.
Whataburger down south.
What a burger.
Whataburger, and
Never been there.
then Shake Shack out east. I have had, and then Culver's is like Midwest, mostly Wisconsin. I've
Okay.
had 3 out of the 4. I haven't had a Whataburger. I can't judge them. But as for the other 2, they're great. They're awesome. Way overrated. Culver's by far takes the cake. Superior patty, and then there's cheese curds. So, uh, yeah. Second thing that's overrated, and we're gonna go on a little tangent with it. This goes to like my main point. I
Yeah.
thought about this is a whole thought process. Um, just drinking like shitty beers, way overrated. I don't understand why people do it. There's better ways to get drunk or to party than to drink crappy beers. There's good beers, there's cocktails, there's wine. All are better than the piss water people call Bud Light.
Hmm.
That so yeah, that's a hard stance, and I'm not like a craft beer like snob by any means, but like I can tell you when something tastes horribly versus when it's good. And why would you not want to drink something good to get drunk? Anyways, that goes into like an actual serious thing that's overrated, and maybe it's just me being slightly introverted, but I think partying and like I don't know, just like always going out every weekend is just way overrated. It's not financially smart for most people that do it, and it's not good for your body. And there's just the time wasted to me is you just can't get that back. And I don't know, maybe I missed out on part of. I mean, I've done it, I've partied, but maybe I missed out on part of growing up where I thought that was fun, but I would rather have a chill night by a fire and have good conversation with people than go out and get blacked out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
long thought.
no, no, for sure. I mean, I don't have much to say about the quality of alcohol. Point. I think that depends on whatever your situation is or whatever, I don't know, your environment or whatever the occasion. But I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think just like getting fucked up in general, like I had my time with it. I sound like I'm only 26. I'm not
Yeah,
old,
yeah.
but even now I'm just like it's been years since I've thought like going out, and this isn't like a knock on on people who do enjoy this. Like I have on occasion, like if I were to do it, I have fun
Yeah.
doing it because it is like a rare occasion for me. But yeah, like going out and just spending $80 at the bar for drinks that could cost you, like 1/8 the price, you know, um, I break it up. So like getting fucked up all the time, yeah, I think is also overrated. Like if you have a good group of people that you're friends with and you have a productive and fun environment, you don't need constant, drugs or alcohol to enjoy that. Like I like having friends where we can sit and have 6 beers together and have a great time, or we could just sit and just talk for 3 hours and have a great time. And on the other end, like I've always just preferred like if we're gonna I love hanging out with my friends, and yeah, I like drinking. I like drinking with my friends. I think that's fun. There's definitely a cap to it, but I do enjoy it like everybody does. But I'm always the minority of like rather than spend $8 on a beer, why not just spend, I don't know, $20 on a case of beers and just go to someone's house and we're safe. We don't have to drive. We don't have to pay a ridiculous amount of money. And we don't have to worry about, like meeting people's cool, but we don't have to worry about outsiders coming in. It's like it's just our group of friends. So I don't know how that will change. Like, if you're already at your age and you feel that way, it's only gonna
I
solidify.
mean, I just think that there's a better way to go out. So like what I just to kind of give you a brief like if I'm going out, there's some things that I figure work out better. So I can go get dinner with someone, like a group of friends even. We go to a bar and we can enjoy a couple like really nice drinks and pay a little bit of money and talk and have conversation. It's not a party if you will, but I can, just relax and enjoy the week and wind down and then I can be in bed whenever the hell I want because that good sleep matters to me and then I can wake up the next morning and I can go out to like a bottomless brunch if I want and I guess in the end I do spend the same amount of money I guess someone who goes out partying but I got two fun moments and then during that brunch I can make it a professional thing I can go excuse me I go out with some of my bosses and get to know them and their significant others and have like a real conversation and try to grow and still enjoy some drinks. And I just think that like the whole like get blacked out and the fun that that causes can be replaced by like you can just drink responsibly and enjoy times. I don't know. I think maybe I sound like a grandfather doing this whole rant, but it just going out and getting blacked out has never been a thing for me.
I mean, there are gonna be, no matter what it is, but especially something like this, like that's a lifestyle choice.
Mhm.
You're gonna have
Truly.
people who are like, "No, you're totally wrong," or like, "Yeah, you're probably right." Um, but oh man, forgot the thought that I was gonna have. Oh, it seems that your priority seems to be not necessarily whatever the time is, but the quality of time. It's like,
Mhm.
okay, it's fine that we're here at this restaurant drinking these drinks, but it's like, what are we doing with this time? Are we just
Yeah.
drinking these drinks to drink these drinks? Or are we like laughing with each other, having a good time? Like, am I getting to know people that I, you know, didn't know before? Am I getting quality time with the people that are around me? And I think that's, no matter how late it hits you, like it hits you at some point where you're like, yeah, that's what matters. It's like, what am I doing with this time?
Yeah.
Um, my next question is, what traumatic event, one that you wouldn't wish to repeat, has significantly impacted your life for the better?
Yeah, so I am a very lucky individual, and I have not had too much personal trauma in my life. And the fact that I've only lost like my grandfather. He was the only person in my family I've lost, and I've been fortunate that all my close friends have stayed safe and healthy throughout their life. The one thing that kind of just it's kind of would come up would be like my girlfriend having cancer and I think it's crazy because I say that and everyone's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and blah, blah. And obviously, that was more of a traumatic experience for her. The crazy thing is, and is from an outside perspective, like she made it seem really easy, which is weird to say. Like it's a horrible thing, and obviously she didn't enjoy it one bit. But it's like she crushed it, and like through treatment and like not even like complaining or crying, and just like not to say that there wasn't that, but it was just like she did it so well, better than I would definitely handle it. And obviously I wouldn't want to repeat that experience, but I think just like seeing her do that gave me so much one respect and like we our bond grew through that but like I did a marathon the summer that she was diagnosed and I remember there was a point where I was running and I was like yeah I just can't slow down because people have it way harder my girlfriend's going through this and it's like it's cliche and silly to some, but I think like we are motivated by those kind of things by thinking of how hard other people have it to allow ourselves to push through situations. And so I would never want to go through any of that again. But the fact that it happened and then we pushed through that has made both her and I just better people, stronger for sure. And yeah, I guess indirectly my trauma.
How old were you guys when that happened?
That was last year.
Last year.
So, well, she was a year cancer free as of January 15th this year. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of a weird timeline. That's a little bushy in my brain, I suppose.
Sure.
Essentially, my senior year of college.
Okay.
Yeah,
Damn, man. And I mean, like, as of right now, everything is good.
yeah,
It's totally
hundred
beaten,
percent. So
totally
she's
cleared.
had multiple scans, and everything's fine. I mean, I'd say her immune system's like 95% there. You know, it's like she's still, I guess you could say, recovering, but it's like one of those things where we're pretty sure we're past everything 100%. So
What kind of cancer was it?
Hodgkin's lymphoma. So it was just like the lymph nodes.
Okay. Mm,
But it was like stage 3, I believe, when we discovered it.
Jesus, man. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, that's crazy. And it's crazy how it happened at such a young age, especially
Mhm.
with the two parties involved. And it's incredible how, like, I'm sure she was a superhero with all of that from what it sounds like, but it's like it takes two, like if you were unraveling and like crumbling to it, like it wouldn't have worked as well. And I don't know, man.
I
That's
mean, I'm gonna be honest. I probably could have done so much better at supporting it. Like, I I like think about that. Like, I
What do
I'm
you
sure I
mean?
had
What do you
some.
mean?
I'm sure I had some moments, but I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I'm a very like blunt
Babe, you
person.
good? You
Yeah,
good,
you're good,
right?
right? Yeah, you're good, right? No, I mean not like that. Like I wasn't like a dick, but I'm just saying like I think that there's moments I probably could have been like more vulnerable and like I have a problem. Not a. I struggle sometimes to like relate to other people's like feelings. So it's actually probably more post than anything, where it's like her revisiting some of those issues, where I'm kind of more of like a it's past us. I don't want to talk about it kind of thing.
Mm,
And that's just something that's like still kind of working out. But it's like, uh, yeah, I just don't want to revisit all that because it was just like it wasn't fun.
yeah. So would you say that empathy doesn't come naturally to you?
No, see, that's the crazy part is I will literally watch movies, shows, I can hear stories, and I'll be crying over literally everything. Disney, I mean Disney just pulls at your heartstrings.
Well, yeah,
But
of
like
course. I'm
literally
monsters.
any show, I'll be crying and Ken will be like, "What is the matter with you?" And I'm like, "Didn't you see the look that they gave that person? Like that meant so much." And she's like, "I mean, I guess." I look so deep into that and then I struggle sometimes to find that like in person to person, which is so weird.
Hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not doing myself justice right now. I'm just like tearing myself down here. But
No, 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 no. That's the curse of the recording button. You see the recording
yeah.
sign and you just start getting uh more insecure than you'd like to. Um but just we'll go back to, I guess, like the deeper point, which is this it's a
Mhm.
great habit to have. I guess you can call it self-awareness or just awareness in general. Like you're going through something, and of course people go through just horrific events and actual tragedies, but the vast majority of us, I think, like especially in this country, we have it really good. And like most of us, if we have access to like friends, family, we have food, we have clean drinking water, like you're doing you're doing all right. And especially if you have like a job that allows you to pay for things, but we still, so many of us have this level of dissatisfaction and discomfort for a number of different reasons, whether it's like lack of discipline, lack of awareness, lack of um, just mindfulness. And so it's really important to develop the habit that you mentioned, which is just like understanding that there are so many people on this planet, like right now, who would kill to have your problems. Like you're stuck in traffic. first of all, you're not stuck in traffic. You are the traffic. But we always think that traffic is happening to us. Like we were talking about perspective earlier. You're cursed with only having your own perspective, and you think things are happening to me, not things happen.
Things are just happening, and you're part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and you're having the worst day ever. You're late. Maybe someone fucked you over. Maybe you were unlucky, and you're stuck in traffic, and you're like, God damn it, this sucks. And it's like, does it? Does it? Maybe someone who just found out that they are diagnosed with cancer, or someone who is actually starving to death, or someone who like never met their family, or someone like the list goes on, like they would genuinely have their like prayers answered if their problems were your problems.
Mhm.
And that's hard because you can't just constantly. I think it's unreasonable to ask people to be constantly like, yes, like, no, I have it so great, things are perfect. That's unreasonable, but
Right.
you have to at least remind yourself, or be able to actively remind yourself that you know it could always be worse, it could always be better, things are just happening. um so I don't know if that's more or less a lesson that you took from that, but I think it's
Yeah.
a beautiful story, and it's great that you've taken so much away from it.
I mean, I just think I am grateful though, seriously. Like obviously it's like it's good to like embrace your issues and not try to put up this like wall that everything's fine. But it's like maybe some I've had adversities that I don't even consider adversities, but I'm just like so grateful that I can look back and go, man, I mean, most of my life I'm like pretty happy that this all happened, and I'm also a believer that things tend to happen for a reason, and that there's, growth to be made out of everything. But like the fact that my trauma was someone else's trauma is just kind of like a just lucky, I guess. I don't know.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know. It's pretty crazy how that all kind of went through. And it's like honestly, when I look back on it, it's like she handled it so well that like I don't even like think about it anymore. Obviously, her hair is still growing back, and it's like she still talk. We still talk about it every now and then, or it comes up, and I kind of like have to like you like remember. It's almost just like if someone was like really fat, like 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
they like bring it up, and they bring it up, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, you were. Like forgot because you are what you are now. I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
Weird.
I feel like that's also just the not curse, but like think back to when you were in middle school. It's like you were in middle school at one point, but doesn't it feel like that was a totally different person?
Oh,
Like that
100%.
was, yeah, like, and that's the cliche, like, oh, it feels like it was a totally different person, but in your brain, in terms of memories, it feels like it was an entirely different individual than the person that you are now. And I don't know enough about psychology to say that that's what this is, but um yeah, it's like, well, I there's a study that said, and this is, I guess, a segue, but it was a study about New Year's resolutions and why we fail at them so much. And it's because when you are thinking about your future self or your past self, the same parts of your brain are activated in as the ones that are activated when you're talking about a different person. So I can say, yeah, like, I know that Michael Boyland this next year is going to like go to the gym at least 3 times a week. And then I can say, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go to the gym this next year. I'm gonna go to the gym at least 3 times a week, every week. The same parts of your brain are activated. So it's as if you are thinking about a different individual. And that's
Right.
why I can't really bring it into the context of what we were saying in terms of building your past self, but
Sure.
in your future self, that's why we suck at New Year's resolutions, because it comes time to actually do the thing, and you've been expecting in your brain that it's going to fall on the shoulders of somebody else, but then you have to do
But
it.
but you have to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're
And
like,
it's not the person you are right now either.
no, 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 not at all. You think that like right when on your phone it hits it goes from 2019 to 2020, like you'll have more energy or inspiration or like
Yeah.
different skills. It's like, no, you're the same fucking person. And now you just have to do this stuff. You're like, wait a second, I don't want to do this. Huh?
You're like, I thought 2020 Michael was gonna do this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, um, but anyway, last question, Michael.
Gotcha.
Been a trooper. Uh, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
To advice I'd give to my 20-year-old self. Well, that's only 3 years old, 3 years ago. So it's pretty recent in my mind in terms of what I was doing at that age.
Have you not
Uh,
changed significantly?
no, I think I've changed significantly, but honestly, I feel like I'm not going to give you the answer you want to hear. Is like I don't really want to give advice to my 20-year-old self. I'm happy with where I ended up, and um, sure I could go like, oh well, if I would have ran this one extra time or done this one extra thing, or I probably would have put more money in Amazon if I was being honest in terms of stocks. But I don't know. I think that's the one thing where in hindsight, like it's not fair to do that and go, well, I wish my 20-year-old self would have done this more. Um, I guess my advice would just be stay true to you and trust that the things you're doing with the right intention will get you to where you want to go. And I think that that's a pretty good like motto to stick by because I could say like, oh, where am I going to be in 10 years? Well, I mean, sure, there's places I'd like to be, but the way to get there is to just be genuine and um, try to do whatever you can in terms of your work ethic and scrap the bad days when they happen and cherish the good days when they do and hope that at the end of the day you end up somewhere that you kind of want to be. And maybe that's a flaw, but I just feel like I've figured it out so far and gotten to where I've gotten. And a lot of times I go, oh, I guess I'm just lucky. I stumbled upon this opportunity or I stumbled upon this. And then you go, no, it's probably just because the foundation I've laid out that I've allowed myself these opportunities and they present themselves and I take advantage. And you can call that luck or you can call it, opportunist. I don't know. But yeah, long-winded advice, but I think it's just essentially be true.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. And I've told you this before.
I appreciate it.
I'm serious.
That was so off the cusp. Like that's the one question I had. Like I had no idea when you said that. I was like, I don't know. So I was pretty off the cusp. I'm glad it turned out okay.
No, no, it was great. I, we've talked about this many times in the past. Like you and I have very different histories. It took me. You're 23 years old. It took me like until I was 23 to really start like actually taking care of myself. And you've been doing it for a while now, and you've set yourself up for a phenomenal life, a phenomenal future. And phenomenal, I mean, in terms of like you're taking care of yourself, and
Mhm.
you are. I would venture to say that like you're secure, like you are. I'm trying to find the words. Like you're not constantly looking over your shoulder and being like, "Fuck, like, am I doing? Is this right? Is this correct? Like, fuck, like, am I? Should I be here? Should I be at this job? Like, am I gonna
Mhm.
be? Am I gonna make it?" And that kind of sounds comical, but there are a lot of people who live that way, and I was one of them up until I actually started taking the steps to taking care of myself, which was like right around your age. So uh, obviously, we all know never compare yourself to other people. Everyone has different journeys and different histories and different paths, and everyone finds things at a different time, in different ways, of course.
Mhm.
But it is crazy, and it's impressive to see someone who like, and of course, like age isn't that important, but like at a young age, like you've really set yourself up, man, and it's impressive, and your leadership abilities are like off the charts, and you've in terms of power, which I assume are the people who will be listening to this, like a large part of, I don't want to say success because I haven't had much success, but um in terms of having a job that you look forward to going to, a big part of that is like, who do I get to work with? Who do I get
Hmm.
to have relationships with? And whether we actually get to work side by side or like talk, I'm grateful that like we've created a relationship where at least we can do this. We can
Yeah,
call each other on the phone. Like that's you know, you can't really force that. It's something that if it's really beneficial, if it's really cool, it's something that just happens. And that's my long-winded way of saying you're awesome, man. I appreciate
appreciate it.
you as a person, and I appreciate you doing this. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what the hell's going to come of this, but hopefully,
No, I
hopefully
I
someone
think
likes
it's
it.
cool. I think a lot of people would like this. I think it's cool. What you're doing is picking the brains of just literally anybody that you work with, and I think the cool thing is the culture of the company you work at, Power, is so strong that I think there's going to be so much interweaved thoughts, and it's impressive because there are a lot of successful people in different avenues of life for sure at this company, and I think that that's why we're all drawn to this like occupation, I guess, or I guess this just this brand. Because I remember throughout the interview process, the only thing I literally repeated over and over was, "But how's the culture? Like, how's the
Mhm.
culture?" And that's just something I had a fantastic college teams coach really who instilled that. Is like that's all about culture. That's the only way you can grow. And that's basically all my questions were about culture. And that's the one thing that Power could probably beat almost any other company out at. It's just the culture we have. The people here are outstanding. And it's not because we're all like I'm not the smartest person. I didn't go to Harvard. You know, I only have a bachelor's bachelor's degree, you know, and there's
Oh,
people that didn't go
really?
to college.
Well, then here, hold on. Let me end this
Let
call.
me just turn this off. But there are people that didn't even go to college. And it doesn't matter. It's the type of people that were hired here. Everyone's got a reason. They're all playing a role in building this beautiful culture of like accountability and I'm calling people and talking about finances. It's like there are companies who are laying people off and saying good luck, have fun with the wolves, where we're like cool, let's strap in, we're going to do this together. You suck at your finances, let's get that together. You don't read enough, like me, I don't work out enough, and we're all just banded together, and that's pretty damn cool. And I think that what you're doing is just kind of creating a collection of all those people and their thoughts, which is pretty fun. I'm excited to explore where this goes.
Cool, man. Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite things to do. Obviously, I have a podcast and all that junk, but
Yo,
I've,
plug that.
I mean, I guess like obviously
I'm just
everyone
kidding.
knows like Fancy, find it wherever you listen to your podcasts, but uh, yeah, you just put it really well. I never really thought about it in those terms. I've never been the most intelligent or articulate person. I've never been the most talented or skillful, but I've always been incredibly interested. And I think that's really helped me along the way. So it's like, okay, well,
Mm,
what can I do with that? Well, I like asking people questions. I like learning about other people and then like poking and learning more.
right.
So I think we all kind of have an interest in that. We just kind of want someone to do it. A lot of times we want someone to do it for us. I'm not saying I'm that person, but um, it's cool. Like you didn't have to sit down with me and open up about all these things, but you did. So there has to be some sort of demand for it. And yeah, we'll see where this goes. This could just be a
Cool.
horrible train wreck, and you'll be
We
the
could.
guinea
This
pig.
might not end up anything. You might just send this to me, and I'll play it for my mom or something.
And she'll say, "Do you want Buffalo Wild Wings or
Yeah,
what was it, tortellini?"
yeah. I'm surprised I didn't get a second knock. I feel like B-dubs is the inevitable option here, and
Anyway.
we'll do some extra push-ups will be all right.
Well, thank you, brother. I appreciate everything you've done, and I appreciate this. So, stay tuned, and we'll see where this goes.
Cool. Thank you.